Imagine walking into a room, and within moments, everyone turns their head, their attention drawn to you. You haven't said a word, yet there's an undeniable pull. The air changes around you. People feel more at ease, more intrigued. You haven't uttered a single sentence, yet you have their full attention. You're not the loudest, not the most flamboyant, yet in that moment, you are the most magnetic person in the room. Welcome to the world of the silent magnet. What if I told you that this force, this quiet yet powerful ability, is something anyone can harness, including you? What if I shared with you that silence, in fact, is often far more powerful than words? It's not a void, it's not an absence, it's a presence, a force that you can wield to influence, to inspire, and to connect with others on a level beyond anything you've ever imagined. This isn't just about saying the right thing at the right time. This is about how you exist in space, how your energy speaks volumes without needing any verbal cues at all. There's a moment that sticks with me from years ago. It was during a business presentation, and I was trying to win over a tough crowd. A room full of executives, each with their own agenda, their own opinions. A dozen presentations had already come and gone, and none had made much of an impression. Then a new speaker stepped up. No flashy slides, no loud declarations. He simply stood there, took a deep breath, and began speaking. Slowly, deliberately, with perfect poise. He didn't dominate the room, but he controlled it with his presence. It wasn't his words. It was the stillness in his posture, the way he moved, the confident yet calm energy he exuded. He didn't rush, didn't chase. He became the center of gravity in that room, drawing everyone's attention without ever forcing it. And the results? A standing ovation. What's fascinating about this story is that this man's influence wasn't about being the loudest or the most charismatic. It wasn't about standing out through conventional means. Instead, it was about becoming the silent magnet, a force that gently but powerfully attracted attention and respect. This is the secret we're going to unlock together throughout this audiobook. In this journey, you will discover how silence, that quiet, often overlooked presence, is an untapped superpower. It is a tool, a weapon in your social arsenal that can deepen connections, build trust, and make you unforgettable, all without uttering a word. And if you've ever felt overlooked or unsure of how to stand out in a room, then I'm here to tell you this. You don't need to speak louder. You just need to speak with more intention. Here's the question. What if you could leave a room and have everyone remember how you made them feel rather than what you said? What if you could be someone who doesn't have to constantly prove their worth with words, but instead is able to command attention and influence just by the way they carry themselves? How powerful would that be? This audiobook is not about talking more. It's about mastering the power of silence. I'll guide you through a series of principles, habits, and mindsets that will help you develop a magnetic presence, one that draws others to you, makes them trust you, and allows you to influence with subtlety and grace. Here's what you'll gain from this journey. A new understanding of influence. You'll discover how to wield silent influence and control a room without speaking, how to make people gravitate towards you without even trying. Tools to cultivate presence. You'll learn how to embody a grounded, magnetic energy that others can't help but feel drawn to, no matter the setting. Practical tips and techniques. This isn't just theory. We'll dive into real-world practices you can start applying right away, whether in business meetings, social gatherings, or personal relationships. By the end of this audiobook, you won't just understand silent magnetism, you will live it. You'll develop an inner confidence that will allow you to command respect and influence effortlessly. So, are you ready to unlock the quiet power within you? To step into every room, every interaction, knowing you don't have to be the loudest or the flashiest, you just need to be the most present. This is your moment to tap into the power of silent magnetism and leave your mark on the world without saying a single word. Let's begin this journey together. Chapter 1. The language no one teaches. We've all felt it? That moment when someone walks into a room and doesn't say a word, yet somehow everyone feels their presence. The conversation slows, heads turn slightly, even the energy in the space seems to shift. Like the air gets heavier, not in a suffocating way, but in a way that commands notice. No applause, no announcement, no flashing signs, and yet they are seen. Maybe you've brushed it off in the past, or told yourself that kind of quiet charisma belongs to a special few, those born with it. But what if I told you that this magnetic quality isn't magic, and it's not even all that mysterious? What if I told you that what you're feeling in those moments is a language, a deeply human one, that most of us were never taught to understand, let alone master? That language is nonverbal influence. It's the wordless communication happening every second between people, under the surface of every conversation, inside every glance, posture shift, or breath held too long. And you're speaking it whether you realize it or not. Understanding nonverbal influence. Nonverbal influence isn't about being fake or memorizing a series of hand gestures and eye movements like some social magician. It's not about learning how to manipulate people into liking you or getting your way through tricks. It's about something far more foundational: how we show up in the world, how our internal world speaks through our external body, and how people feel us before they ever hear us. This language is always running, like a second stream beneath our words. And the reason it's so powerful is because we trust it more than verbal language. Think about it. How often have you heard someone say one thing, "I'm fine," for example, while everything in their tone, face, and body screamed the opposite? You didn't need evidence. You didn't need a psychological breakdown. You knew they weren't fine. That's nonverbal communication doing its job. It bypasses logic and lands straight into the gut. It's instinctual. It's primal. It's older than words. From the moment we're born, we begin decoding this invisible language. Babies don't respond to sentences. They respond to tone, facial expressions, and body warmth. Before a child can understand the phrase, "I love you," they feel it through the softness of a parent's voice or the safety in a held gaze. As we grow, we pile layers of verbal fluency on top of that early wisdom, but we never stop reading each other's nonverbal signals. We do it so quickly, so unconsciously, that we don't even recognize it. A subtle lean forward can signal interest. A blink held too long can create discomfort. Even the pace of someone's breath can change the dynamic of a conversation. Nonverbal influence isn't just about what you show. It's about what others absorb without realizing they're absorbing it. It's about energy transfer. Your presence isn't a static thing. It enters the room before your voice and lingers after you leave. What makes this all the more fascinating is that it's not something we often reflect on. We focus so much on what to say, how to frame a message, how to sound confident, how to pitch, persuade, convince, that we neglect the signals we're sending all the time. You could say the perfect words in a negotiation, but if your shoulders are hunched, your jaw is tight, and your eyes are darting with uncertainty, people will feel that tension. They may not know why they don't trust you. They just won't. Conversely, someone might be silent, but if their presence radiates calm confidence, people lean in. They want to hear what that person has to say, even if they're not saying anything at all. That's influence. That's what silent magnetism looks like. And the best part? It's not reserved for a lucky few. It's learnable, buildable, and deeply human. Body speaks louder than voice. Now let's focus on the most obvious yet least understood tool of nonverbal influence, your body. If you've ever felt off around someone but couldn't explain why, It was probably their body language that sent mixed signals. The body doesn't lie. You can try to control it. Try to smile while you're nervous. Try to stand tall while you're shrinking inside. But the truth leaks out. Not always in dramatic, obvious ways, but in microsignals. A flinch, a blink, a breath held at the wrong time. These things are read not by the logical part of our brain, but by the intuitive part. And others are reading you the same way, even if they're not consciously aware of it. When you walk into a room, your body is already broadcasting a message. Are your shoulders drawn back or caved inward? Is your chest open or guarded? Is your face relaxed or stiff with effort? These signals register in milliseconds. Before you open your mouth, people have formed a subconscious impression of you. First impressions aren't just fast, they're sticky, and they're shaped largely by your nonverbal presentation. If that sounds intimidating, it shouldn't. It means you have more control than you think. You don't need to talk louder, perform harder, or dominate attention. You just need to become conscious of what your body is already saying and bring it into alignment with who you are or how you wish to be experienced. There's a concept in psychology called embodied cognition, which basically means your body and mind aren't separate. They talk to each other constantly. If you shift your posture into a more grounded stance, your mind responds. Your confidence rises. If you breathe deeply and slow your movements, your anxiety decreases. That's not fluff, it's science. Your body can lead your mind as much as your mind can lead your body. So when we say the body speaks louder than the voice, we mean it in both directions. You're not just communicating outward, you're creating an internal loop. Calm body, calm mind. Open body, open energy. Strong body, strong presence. This is why posture, facial expression, and movement matter. Not because they're tricks to impress others, but because they affect how you feel. And how you feel is what others ultimately respond to. I once coached a young woman named Amira, a brilliant analyst who struggled in high-stakes meetings. She told me, "I prepare obsessively, but the second I sit in that boardroom, I disappear." We reviewed recordings of her presentations. Her voice was clear, her data was solid, but her body betrayed her. She sat small, avoided eye contact, and her hands fidgeted under the table. The message she sent wasn't, "I'm unsure of my data," but "I'm unsure of myself." With some small adjustments, sitting forward slightly, placing her hands visibly on the table, softening her gaze, we changed her experience of herself. She reported back 2 weeks later, "People treated me differently. They listened longer. They didn't interrupt. Her content hadn't changed. Her presence had." Evolution of silent cues. This brings us to a critical truth about why nonverbal communication is so powerful. It's ancient. Long before humans developed language, we relied on physical cues to navigate the world. Survival depended on our ability to detect friend from foe, safety from danger, belonging from exclusion, all through sight, sound, and sensation. A rustle in the bushes triggered alertness. A fixed stare signaled aggression. A soft coo from a mother signaled safety. These primitive instincts still live within us. In modern life, they manifest in subtler ways. A person speaking too fast triggers stress. A tense jaw feels threatening. A long pause in a conversation makes us lean in. Our bodies are still responding to ancient scripts. So when we talk about nonverbal influence, we're not talking about social polish. We're talking about something far more primal, something wired into our nervous systems. This is why you can't fake it for long. Your biology will eventually show through. But it's also why transformation is possible. By working with your body and energy, not against them, you can become someone who influences naturally, without trying so hard. You can speak directly to the nervous systems of others, not with words, but with presence. This is what great leaders, healers, performers, and deeply magnetic people do. They resonate on a level beyond the intellect. They communicate safety, steadiness, clarity, even when silent. The best part is, you don't need to become someone else to do this. You just need to become more aware, more attuned. Start by noticing how others make you feel. What do you sense when someone enters a room quickly versus slowly? What changes when someone meets your eyes versus avoids them? What do you pick up when someone breathes calmly versus shallowly? Begin to tune in. The more fluent you become in receiving nonverbal cues, the more skilled you'll become at sending them with intention. Your awareness is your first tool. And it's the most important one. You're already speaking this language. You always have been. The question now is whether you're ready to learn how to speak it with clarity, presence, and purpose. In the next chapter, we'll explore what presence really is, how it's not something you perform, but something you embody. For now, I invite you to do one simple thing. Notice. Notice how your body moves through the world. Notice how others move. Notice the invisible words floating between you. This is where your magnetism begins. Not in what you say, but in everything you say without words. Chapter 2. Energetic Presence. There's a question that echoes quietly in every room, every meeting, every conversation, though it's rarely spoken aloud. Who are you in this moment, and how do you make others feel simply by being here? It's a question of presence, not personality. Not how charming or articulate you are, not how much attention you command with stories or clever remarks, but what you bring with you when you're not trying, what fills the space around you when you're quiet, when you're still, when there's nothing to distract from your essence. That, in its purest form, is presence, not a performance, but a transmission. And this presence, when honed, becomes magnetic. It draws people in, not because you demand attention, but because you invite trust, stability, and a sense of realness that's increasingly rare in a world full of noise. What is presence, really? To understand presence, we have to move beyond the cliches. Presence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room, or the most polished speaker, or the person with the most confidence etched into every gesture. It's not about charisma in the way it's often sold to us. Big energy, big smiles, big moves. In truth, presence is often quiet, still, even understated. But when it's real, it's unmistakable. Presence is what happens when your attention, your energy, and your body are all in the same place at the same time. No part of you is scattered. You're not thinking about your next move, not subtly escaping into self-judgment, not over-managing how you appear. You're simply here, and in being fully here, you make others feel more here too. You become a lighthouse in a world full of flickering candles. One of the most common misconceptions is that presence is something you put on, like a jacket you wear for important occasions. People try to activate it when they step on stage, or enter an interview, or start a conversation they believe matters. But real presence can't be summoned like that, because it's not something external, it's internal alignment. It's your body, mind, and emotional state syncing up into congruence. And here's the thing, people can feel when you're congruent. They may not know how to describe it, but they feel safer around you, more open, more curious. It's as if your very being says, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just real. That's rare and powerful. Presence also isn't about perfection. In fact, some of the most magnetic people are deeply flawed, visibly human, even awkward in moments. But they're present in their humanness. They don't flinch away from discomfort. They stay grounded when others panic. They're still when others rush. And because they're not fractured inside, because they're not hiding from themselves, they invite others to settle too. It's incredibly disarming. You've likely felt it before. A moment where someone's calm made you calm, where someone's groundedness made you feel like you didn't have to prove anything. That's the silent influence of presence. It levels the emotional field. How presence is felt, not seen. Presence is a felt experience, and that's why it's so difficult to fake. You can mimic posture. You can rehearse facial expressions. You can even modulate your voice to sound more present. But if your energy is scattered, if part of you is overthinking, another part is performing, and yet another is emotionally checked out, people will feel the fragmentation. They might not pinpoint it consciously, but their nervous systems will register it. It will read as unease or disconnection or something just not sitting right. That's the danger of treating presence as an act. It can backfire. Because while people may not be trained to analyze your energy, they are constantly feeling it. Think about the last time you met someone who didn't say much, but somehow shifted the room just by being in it. They didn't have to command attention. They didn't ask for it. Their presence did the work. And here's the part most people miss. That presence wasn't the result of an external performance. It was a byproduct of internal coherence. That person wasn't performing calm. They were calm. They weren't pretending to be self-assured. They were simply rooted in their own experience. That internal alignment between body, emotion, breath, and awareness creates a frequency that others feel immediately. It's like tuning into a clear radio signal after scanning through static. You don't need to understand the mechanics to know you've found something clean, something grounded, something trustworthy. This is why truly present people don't need to prove anything. Their impact doesn't come from speaking louder or asserting dominance. In fact, their presence often softens the space rather than tightening it. They listen more than they speak. They move slowly, deliberately. They breathe fully. They're not bracing for impact. And that creates a sense of safety around them. An unspoken message that says, you can relax now. In a society obsessed with productivity and image, someone who embodies still presence becomes a rare oasis. People are drawn to it instinctively. It's not about status, it's about sensation. And because most people are stuck in performance mode, tense, distracted, hypervigilant, just being in the orbit of someone who's deeply present can feel like a recalibration. Another reason presence is felt, not seen, is because it taps into our nervous system's ancient wisdom. The body can sense threat or safety long before the mind catches up. It's the same system that warns you when someone seems off, even if they're smiling. It's the same system that relaxes when you're around someone who's emotionally regulated. That's why presence can't be faked for long. It's a nervous system experience, and your nervous system doesn't lie. It communicates through tone, eye softness, muscle tension, breathing pace, and micro movements. You could wear a confident mask, but if your gut is in knots and your breath is shallow, people will feel your anxiety more than hear your words. Cultivating awareness of your energy. So how do you begin building this kind of presence? You start by becoming aware, not of how you're being perceived, but of what you're actually bringing into the room energetically. This is a shift from performance to perception, from outward projection to inward tuning. The first step is to slow down. We live in a culture that worships speed, but presence lives in slowness. You can't be present while rushing through thoughts, movements, or interactions. Slowness allows your attention to catch up with your body. It allows you to feel your internal state rather than override it. So, start by observing your body in moments of tension. Are your shoulders creeping up toward your ears? Is your breath shallow? Are you gripping your jaw? These are signs your energy is disorganized, split between anxiety, anticipation, and control. Once you start noticing your internal signals, you can begin regulating them. This isn't about forcing calm, but about creating space for it. Try this. Before entering a room or conversation, take one full breath. Not a quick inhale and exhale, a full breath. Feel it expand your ribs, then let it go completely. Let your feet feel the ground. Let your face soften. Let your thoughts settle just enough to bring your attention to the now. This isn't a performance trick. It's a nervous system reset. One breath, one moment. That's how presence begins, not with an act, but with awareness. As you build this awareness, start experimenting with energy intentionally. Notice how your energy feels when you rush versus when you move with purpose. Notice what shifts when you make eye contact and stay open, rather than darting your attention around. Notice the effect of simply being with someone without the need to fix, entertain, or convince. You'll start to feel something subtle but powerful, a kind of gravity in your own body. A weight, not heavy, but anchored. That's the foundation of magnetic presence. You become a grounded point in a spinning world. And here's what's truly beautiful. As your awareness grows, your energy becomes more consistent. You stop leaking presence through overthinking, over-explaining, and overreaching. You begin to trust silence. You begin to embody calm even when others are anxious. You stop trying to take up space and instead become space. Space where others feel safe, seen, and stable. That's the essence of silent influence. Not controlling the room, but settling into yourself so fully that the room begins to respond to you. Presence isn't about being special. It's about being here. Fully, honestly, and without rush. In a world constantly trying to pull you out of yourself, the greatest power you can cultivate is the ability to remain inwardly steady. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes people listen when you speak and lean in when you don't. Chapter 3. Posture and Poise. When we think of communication, we often turn to the face first, the eyes, the mouth, the expressions we make with ease or intent. Yet beneath all of that, the body itself speaks in a constant, clear voice. Even when we are silent, even when our face remains unreadable, the posture we hold tells the world how we see ourselves, how safe we feel, how open or closed we are to connection. It reveals our confidence or our anxiety, our ease or our restraint, often without our awareness. The truth is, posture is not just a matter of physical alignment. It's a living map of our inner world. And the way we carry ourselves, quite literally, carries our energy, projecting our beliefs, our emotional baseline, and even the level of trust others feel in our presence. We don't just walk into a room. We arrive with a shape, a stance, a presence that speaks before we ever open our mouths. The psychology of posture. There is a reason body language experts often start with posture when decoding nonverbal influence. Posture is primal. Long before we spoke in words, our ancestors communicated readiness, fear, dominance, or submission through the way they held their bodies. Even today, posture is one of the most ancient cues our nervous systems register instantly, without conscious thought. A slumped spine doesn't just look tired, it feels tired to those who witness it. A chest that collapses inward doesn't merely reflect low energy, it transmits a lack of confidence, even if your words contradict it. Conversely, when someone walks tall, spine lengthened, shoulders open but not forced, their very presence communicates quiet authority and trust in self. That posture doesn't say, "Look at me." It says, "I know where I stand." Posture reflects and reinforces our internal state. It's a feedback loop. When you feel low, your posture collapses. When your posture collapses, your mood drops further. The body tells the brain, "We're in withdrawal. We're protecting ourselves. Let's shrink." But when you shift your posture, subtly but consciously, you shift that loop. Straightening your spine, relaxing your shoulders, lifting your chin a few degrees. These small adjustments signal to the mind that something is safe, that presence is possible, and people around you respond to that shift, often in mirror. This is why two people can enter a room at the same time, but only one draws the room's attention without saying a word. It's not about being flashy. It's about being grounded, aligned, and self-assured from the inside out. One powerful thing to understand is that people trust what looks congruent. If your posture says confidence but your eyes dart nervously, people will feel the contradiction. If your words express certainty but your spine slouches inwards, the body gives you away. But when your words, tone, and posture all match, when your internal conviction aligns with your external bearing, something clicks. That congruence is deeply compelling. It creates trust. And in many cases, posture is the first signal people use to determine whether you're someone worth listening to, someone they want to follow, or someone they feel safe around. You don't need to exaggerate it. You just need to become aware of what your posture is silently saying on your behalf. Centering the body to ground the mind. If posture reflects our psychology, then cultivating better posture is not simply a matter of discipline or mechanics. It's a practice of centering. To center yourself is to return to the middle of your own experience. It's to become aware of the space you occupy and to inhabit that space with intention. Many people move through the world without feeling their bodies. They live in their heads, consumed by thoughts, stress, or what-ifs, and their bodies simply trail behind them. When you center yourself physically, you send a message to your entire system. I am here. I am not escaping this moment, and that message radiates far beyond your skin. Centering starts by connecting with your vertical line. Picture an invisible axis running from the crown of your head, down through your spine, pelvis, and into the ground. That axis is your anchor. When your mind spirals, return to that vertical. When you feel anxious, soften into that line. It doesn't mean standing like a statue or holding tension. It means allowing gravity to support you rather than resist it. The most magnetic individuals aren't rigid. They're anchored. They move from center. Their gestures, their stillness, their presence, it all radiates from that central alignment. And because they're rooted in themselves, others feel that steadiness even if they can't name it. The challenge is that most of us aren't taught to inhabit our bodies in this way. We're taught to project outward, confidence, charm, competence, often at the expense of our inner felt sense. But there is great power in turning attention inward, just enough to feel where your body is in space. When you stand or sit, can you feel your feet evenly weighted? Can you soften your knees, unlock your hips, breathe into your belly? These subtle shifts have a profound effect not only on how you feel, but on how you affect others. You stop floating above yourself in thought. You start embodying your presence, and when your energy moves from the core, not from superficial mannerisms, people feel the difference. You become less performative, more real, less reactive, more stable. That is the unspoken power of grounded poise. What's remarkable is how quickly this embodiment becomes contagious. The more you anchor yourself in stillness, the more others instinctively slow down around you. The body knows when it's in the presence of someone centered. It relaxes, it mirrors, and that is influence at its most profound. Not persuasion through effort, but regulation through presence. You become the tuning fork in the room, subtly aligning others simply by standing in your own axis. Stillness versus stiffness. At this point, it's important to differentiate between two very different energies that can look similar on the surface but feel drastically different: stillness and stiffness. A poised, magnetic presence doesn't come from holding tension. It comes from holding space, and that space is alive, fluid, responsive. When someone is stiff, their body becomes armored. They may stand tall, but their shoulders are clenched. Their breath is shallow. Their neck is tight. It's a posture of defense, not presence. Stiffness says, I'm trying to control how you see me. Stillness says, I'm already okay with who I am. Stiffness is often born from self-consciousness. We think we're being observed or judged, so we tighten. We control. We become rigid in an attempt to appear composed. But that control backfires. Because while stiffness may look like discipline to the untrained eye, to the body, it reads as anxiety. It lacks the warmth, the flow, the ease that true presence carries. People may nod along with a stiff person's words, but they won't feel invited. They'll feel kept at a distance. Why? Because stiffness blocks energetic exchange. It says, "Stay back. I'm holding it together." That's not the message of a silent magnet. Stillness, in contrast, is spacious. It is not the absence of movement, but the absence of wasteful movement. It's a kind of quiet composure that comes from deep comfort in your own skin. It allows the body to rest, not collapse. It allows the breath to move fully, not forcefully. And from this place, gestures become more intentional. Eye contact deepens. Presence thickens. Stillness says, "I'm not bracing. I'm here, with you, right now." That kind of poise draws people in effortlessly. It softens the room without trying to impress it. To cultivate this kind of stillness, begin by paying attention to your patterns. Notice when you clench. Notice when you hold your breath or overcorrect your posture to appear professional. These are signs that you're leaving center and entering performance. Instead, ask, "Can I be tall but relaxed? Can I be alert but at ease? Can I hold this moment without gripping it?" These are subtle but transformational questions. The body will respond immediately if you're listening. Over time, you'll notice that people respond not just to what you do, but to the quality of your stillness. And in a world where most people are tense, tight, and rushing to prove their worth, your stillness will feel like truth. Ultimately, posture and poise are not about looking polished. They're about returning to your natural state, a state of openness, groundedness, and fluid strength. When your body aligns with your breath, when your spine becomes your anchor, when your stillness becomes a signal of safety rather than stiffness, you embody something rare. You embody presence that speaks before you do. You become a silent magnet, not through technique, but through integrity of being. And others, often without knowing why, will be drawn to it. Chapter 4. Eyes that speak. There is a silence louder than words, more precise than gestures, and more penetrating than touch, the language of the eyes. Long before two people speak, they often lock eyes, even if just for a moment. And in that fleeting space, a powerful exchange takes place, often bypassing thought, landing instead in instinct. The eyes hold stories, sometimes volumes, even when the mouth remains still. They are gateways to truth, windows to emotion, and signals of presence or absence. In the realm of nonverbal influence, the eyes are perhaps the most underestimated instrument, not because we don't know they matter, but because we rarely understand how to use them deliberately. Many of us avoid strong eye contact for fear of seeming aggressive. Others overdo it, forcing a kind of presence that feels more confrontational than connected. But when used with intention, the eyes have the power to communicate confidence, safety, intimacy, and leadership without a single word uttered. To master the eyes is to master the most subtle and magnetic form of influence available, the power of eye contact. Eye contact is a language we all know instinctively, but few truly speak fluently. It is our first connection to another person, and often the deciding factor in whether we feel acknowledged, seen, or dismissed. When someone looks you in the eye with clarity and steadiness, not aggression, a subtle recognition takes place. I see you. I am with you. I am not hiding from this moment. That kind of gaze holds incredible power. It doesn't demand attention. It offers presence. And in that offering, people feel safe enough to open up, to be real, to meet you on deeper ground. Contrast that with the typical glancing around. The eye flickers, the constant breaking of connection that marks so many conversations in the modern world. Those fractured moments subtly communicate disinterest, discomfort, or distraction, even if our words are polished and warm. We may say, "I care," but our eyes betray the distance. There is something deeply affirming about being looked at fully. Not stared at, not examined, but seen. When someone looks into your eyes with gentle steadiness, it communicates more than attentiveness. It conveys respect. It suggests that in this moment, you matter. And for many people, such moments are rare. That rarity is what makes eye contact so magnetic. It stands out. It pierces through noise. It arrests attention not with volume, but with presence. This is why leaders, therapists, lovers, and great communicators all share this skill. They know how to look, not just with intensity, but with care. Not just with sharpness, but with humanity. The eyes can either build a bridge or raise a wall, and we're always transmitting one or the other. Even brief, well-placed eye contact can be transformative. In a group setting, it signals leadership and attention. In one-on-one conversation, it conveys depth and sincerity. But here's the key. It must be rooted in genuine presence. If you're trying to use eye contact as a technique without actually being present, it will feel mechanical or manipulative. The gaze must arise from the same stillness and groundedness that we've explored earlier. When your body is centered and your mind is calm, your gaze naturally stabilizes. And from that space, you don't just look at people, you see them. And that difference changes everything. The soft gaze versus the piercing look. One of the most subtle distinctions in nonverbal influence is understanding the energetic quality of your gaze. Not all eye contact is equal. There's a spectrum of intensity, and where you fall on that spectrum changes how people feel in your presence. On one end, there's the piercing look, often used in negotiations, confrontations, or moments of authority. It's sharp, focused, and carries a kind of mental pressure. While it can be effective in specific moments, like asserting boundaries or projecting dominance, it's not a sustainable or relational form of presence. Too much of it creates tension. People feel like they're being evaluated, not connected with. It becomes more about control than communication. On the other end of the spectrum lies what's often called the soft gaze. This is the gaze of deep presence. It's relaxed, open, and spacious. Rather than narrowing in on someone like a spotlight, it includes them like ambient light. You're not trying to see into them or through them. You're simply with them. This kind of gaze invites. It makes space. It lowers the nervous system, and it communicates wordlessly. I'm here with you, not at you. The soft gaze is one of the most magnetic tools you can cultivate. It doesn't provoke defense. It dissolves it. And in doing so, it opens a channel for real connection. To practice the soft gaze, begin by noticing where you focus your eyes in conversation. Are you drilling into the other person's eyes, trying to prove attentiveness? Are you darting away often, trying to hide? Or can you allow your eyes to settle, not fixated, not floating, but steady? Let your eyes breathe. Let your gaze rest gently on the person's face, allowing peripheral vision to stay open. This creates a sense of ease for both of you. When your gaze softens, your whole body tends to follow. Shoulders relax. Breath deepens, and suddenly, presence becomes effortless rather than forced. You're no longer managing your image. You're inhabiting the moment. It's worth noting that the soft gaze doesn't mean weak or submissive. On the contrary, it's one of the clearest signs of grounded confidence. Only someone who feels at home in themselves can afford to soften. Someone who is threatened, performative, or uncertain will either avoid gaze altogether or overcompensate with intensity. But the person who is truly anchored doesn't need to prove their presence. Their gaze reveals it. This is why the soft gaze is so disarming. It's the look of someone who has nothing to prove, nothing to hide. And in today's world, That is a rare and powerful thing to witness. Reading others through their eyes. As much as your gaze communicates your presence, it also gives you access to the inner world of others, if you know how to see it. The eyes are an emotional barometer. They tell you what the mouth won't. They reveal fatigue, excitement, skepticism, fear, curiosity, boredom, and joy, often in flashes too quick for words. Learning to read the eyes isn't about decoding micro-expressions like a human lie detector. It's about developing sensitivity. It's about noticing, not analyzing. And it starts with attuning to what the eyes feel like, not just what they look like. When you meet someone's eyes, ask yourself, what's the quality of their gaze? Is it darting or steady? Dull or bright? Inviting or guarded? These impressions aren't judgments, they're data. They give you insight into how connected someone feels. To themselves, to you, to the moment. Often, you'll notice a mismatch between what someone says and what their eyes reveal. A smile paired with evasive eyes. A confident tone paired with a blank gaze. When this happens, pause, breathe, return to stillness. Let your own gaze remain calm. Often, your stability helps others drop their mask. It invites congruence. People feel the safety to let their guard down, not because you asked them to, but because you saw the dissonance without flinching. You'll also begin to notice the moment when someone's eyes truly arrive. It might happen mid-conversation, when they suddenly drop into presence. Their gaze clears. The masks fall away. You feel them land in the moment, even if nothing is said. This is a sacred moment. Honor it. Hold it. Let the silence stretch. These are the moments when real connection is forged, beneath the surface, beyond the script. The eyes are the bridge, and when that bridge is walked slowly with care, it leads to a kind of trust that no amount of clever speech could manufacture. There's also something deeply humanizing about seeing someone through their eyes. You stop relating to them as a role, client, stranger, boss, friend, and start relating to them as a person. Someone with fears and hopes and contradictions, just like you. This humanization softens judgment. It opens space. It reminds you that we're all walking through our own weather systems, and that presence is the one gift we can give each other freely, without needing to fix or impress. That gift begins with how you see. In the end, mastering eye contact is not about dominance, technique, or manipulation. It is about presence. It's about becoming someone who sees and is willing to be seen. Someone who doesn't hide behind performance or posture. Someone who uses their eyes not to control, but to connect. The silent magnet knows this power. They don't need to overwhelm a room to draw attention. They simply arrive with their full self, eyes included. And in a world where most people are looking past each other, to be fully seen and to see is an act of profound presence. Chapter 5. Breathing and Silence. There is something profoundly intimate about silence, true silence, not the absence of noise, but the presence of stillness. It wraps around a room like a soft fabric, slowing everything down, demanding nothing, proving nothing. Within that stillness lives one of the most overlooked tools of influence and presence: breath. It is the rhythm of our existence, the silent pulse that underlies every word, gesture, and glance. And yet, for most of us, breath remains invisible, not because it is hidden, but because we are disconnected from it. We breathe out of necessity, not intention. We speak without noticing the inhale, without feeling the exhale. But when you begin to breathe with awareness, a shift takes place. You begin to inhabit your presence. You begin to carry calm, not just perform it. In every room, in every moment, your breath becomes a message, silent but potent. Breath as invisible communication. You can learn to read a person's emotional state, simply by observing their breath. Shallow, rapid breathing often accompanies anxiety, urgency, or overstimulation. Long, slow breathing tends to reflect calm, clarity, and emotional balance. But what's more important is that breath isn't just reactive, it's also communicative. How you breathe doesn't only reflect your state, it shapes it. And in shaping your state, it transmits signals to those around you. You don't have to speak for someone to feel the steadiness of your breath. You don't have to move for someone to be affected by your calm. Intense meetings, hard conversations, even moments of celebration, your breath either fuels the energy in the room or grounds it. And people feel this instinctively. They may not consciously realize they are reacting to your breath, but they are reacting. Nervous breath agitates the air. Centered breath settles it. Think of the leaders, mentors, or even friends who make you feel safe, not because they say the right thing, but because they are the right thing. Their presence holds you. Often, what you're feeling is the regulation of their breath. Their nervous systems aren't scrambling to manage the room. They're simply inhabiting it. That self-regulation begins in the breath. It is their anchor. And because it's invisible, it doesn't draw attention. But invisibility is not insignificance. In fact, it's the subtlety of breath that makes it powerful. It operates beneath the surface like a steady current under a still lake. No one sees the current, but everything above it is shaped by its flow. When your breathing is intentional, people feel you differently. They don't know why they trust you, but they do. They don't know why they calm down in your presence, but they soften. You become the one who holds the tone of the room, not by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. And it begins simply by noticing. Notice when your breath tightens. Notice when you're speaking from your chest rather than your belly. Notice the moments when you're holding your breath without realizing it. Each of these is a window, and behind that window is the opportunity to shift the energy, not through effort, but through awareness. To breathe is to lead, whether you say a word or not. Using breath to control presence. Presence is not a mystical quality reserved for monks or actors. It is a trainable state, and breath is the primary lever. When your breath is slow and grounded, your attention follows. Your thoughts begin to quiet, not because you force them, but because the body signals, "We are safe." In that safety, clarity emerges, attention returns, and presence arrives, not as a performance, but as a state of being. This is why breath is such a powerful tool in high-stakes moments. You may not be able to change the circumstances, but you can always return to the breath. And in doing so, you return to yourself. Too often, we rely on techniques to appear composed, forgetting that composure is physiological before it is behavioral. You can practice the perfect posture, the perfect eye contact, the perfect tone, but if your breath is shallow and erratic, none of it will land. The body doesn't lie. People feel the incongruence, even if they can't name it. But when your breath is slow, open, and deep, you don't need to say much. You are the message. There is a weight to your presence, not heaviness, but gravity. And that gravity draws people in, not because you're commanding the room, but because you're inhabiting it fully. To train this kind of breath is simple, though not always easy. It begins with pausing. Before you speak, breathe. Before you enter a room, breathe. Before you react, breathe. These micropauses build a habit of self-regulation. Over time, you begin to live a half-second slower than the world expects. And that half-second is where your power lives. You're no longer carried by the momentum of noise and urgency. You choose when and how to respond. Your breath becomes the metronome of your awareness. And from that place, you influence without force. In group dynamics, this becomes especially noticeable. The calmest person in the room often becomes the emotional anchor. Not because they are the loudest or most charismatic, but because their presence doesn't add noise. Instead, it adds clarity. They speak with pauses. They listen with stillness. They breathe in a way that invites others to do the same. In doing so, they repattern the nervous system of the group, not by trying, but by being. This is the essence of silent magnetism, changing the temperature of the room without needing to raise your voice. The pause as a tool. In a culture that prizes speed, the pause is revolutionary. It is the moment that refuses to be rushed. It is the breath that holds before the next sentence, the glance that lingers before the reply, the silence that settles after someone has finished speaking. The pause says, I am not in a hurry. I trust this moment enough to stay in it. And that trust is palpable. It communicates confidence, calm, and spaciousness, all without a single word. The pause is not empty. It is full of presence, intention, and influence. And the more comfortable you become with it, the more magnetic you become. Most people rush to fill silence because they fear what it might reveal. In conversation, we often jump in, not because we have something meaningful to say, but because we feel exposed by the gap. But silence doesn't expose you. It reveals you. It shows whether you are rooted or reactive, whether you're present or posturing. And that moment of revelation is powerful. When you learn to sit in the pause, without fidgeting, without rushing, you become unmistakably present. You stop performing. You start being. And people feel that shift. It draws them in. The pause also sharpens your communication. When you speak after a pause, your words carry more weight. They emerge not from habit, but from clarity. Even a single breath before a sentence can change how it lands. You're not just talking, you're offering something considered. And in a world addicted to reaction, that consideration stands out. It slows the tempo of the exchange. It invites depth. It makes the moment sacred, even if the topic is mundane. You create a space where something real can happen. And when listening, the pause becomes even more vital. It is the space that honors what was just said. Too often, we respond the moment someone finishes speaking, sometimes even before. But the pause says, I heard you. I'm not rushing to respond. I'm letting it land. That moment of stillness validates the speaker more than any words can. It shows you're not just hearing, they're being felt. And in that feeling, trust begins to grow. The person may not know why they feel safe with you, but they do. It is because you offer space, not solutions. You allow their words to breathe. And in doing so, you breathe with them. In leadership, intimacy, conflict, and connection, the pause is your silent ally. It gives you access to wisdom beyond reflex. It allows you to respond rather than react. It invites others to meet you in depth, not just speed. And it makes your presence undeniable, not because you take up space, but because you honor space. The pause doesn't remove tension, it transforms it. It turns urgency into clarity, chaos into calm, performance into presence. In the quiet rhythm of your breath, in the subtle power of your pause, and in the invisible influence of your silence, lies the true mastery of nonverbal presence. You don't need to say more to mean more. You don't need to fill space to hold it. When you learn to breathe with intention, to slow your tempo, to welcome silence not as a void, but as a container, you begin to live as a silent magnet. People feel you not because you assert yourself, but because you inhabit yourself. And that is a force more powerful than any speech. The world does not need more noise. It needs more grounded, steady presence. And that begins in the quiet temple of your breath. Chapter 6. The Power of Subtle Movements. There's an undeniable magic in stillness, an almost sacred quality that can shift a room's energy without a single word being spoken. Yet, this stillness is not about rigidly holding the body in place or suppressing all forms of movement. Stillness is a choice, a conscious act of being present, rather than performing an action. However, the power of movement, when done with intention, is equally influential. Subtle movements, the kind that are almost imperceptible to the untrained eye, can convey volumes. They allow you to communicate nonverbally in ways that speak more truthfully than any carefully constructed sentence ever could. In the world of nonverbal influence, the small intentional gestures you make shape your presence. These seemingly inconsequential movements are the silent language of your body, and in that silence, they possess a tremendous power to influence others, to draw them toward you, and to make your presence felt. Small gestures, big impact. In a world that is constantly rushing forward, people have become conditioned to overlook the power of the small and the subtle. Yet, these are often the most potent forms of communication. A slight adjustment of your posture when listening to someone, a purposeful hand gesture when speaking, or even the way you position your body to indicate openness. Each of these movements carries weight, often more than we realize. For example, imagine you're in a conversation and you make a small movement to lean forward just slightly. Or perhaps you tilt your head in acknowledgement while the other person is speaking. These small shifts in the way you position yourself can dramatically influence how engaged, approachable, and attuned you appear to the other person. The effect is almost invisible, but it is deeply felt. People intuitively pick up on these subtle cues and feel understood or acknowledged without a word being exchanged. You create an unspoken connection by making these small, intentional movements that speak volumes about your attention and care. The beauty of small gestures is that they require little effort, yet the impact is often profound. A slight uncrossing of your arms, for instance, when someone expresses vulnerability, can make a world of difference in how safe they feel in your presence. It shows openness. It signals a willingness to receive them without judgment. A shift in your posture, from standing rigidly to relaxing slightly, can immediately change how others perceive you. You go from being an authoritative figure to someone who is approachable and grounded, someone they want to engage with. The simplicity of these small gestures makes them incredibly powerful. They don't demand attention, but they earn it. And the beauty is that people rarely notice the gestures themselves, but they certainly notice how they feel around you, how drawn in they are, how safe, how heard. That's the magic of the subtle movement. It creates a quiet gravitational pull without being loud or demanding. It is the art of influencing through the gentle language of the body. Even beyond human interaction, subtle movements can drastically change the atmosphere of a room. Take the example of entering a space, whether it's a meeting room or a social gathering. The simple act of holding your posture with intention, moving with a calm and deliberate energy, can set the tone for everything that follows. It's like the invisible weight of your presence enters before your words ever do. People sense it. The way you move through a space communicates your relationship with it. Are you at ease? Are you uncertain? Are you rushing through or pacing yourself? These gestures, while small, create the foundation for the energy of the entire interaction. In a moment, you've either invited calm, tension, openness, or resistance, simply by the way you move. The role of intentional motion. When we think of influential people, whether it's a leader, a mentor, or even a loved one, what stands out is often the way they carry themselves. But more than the physical stature, what draws us to them is the energy they emanate, and much of this is conveyed through the intentionality behind their movements. Intentional motion is more than just moving with purpose. It is about making conscious decisions in how you occupy space. Each movement, each gesture, is performed with a clear sense of what you want to convey. The way you walk, the way you gesture when speaking, the way you shift your weight when listening, it all speaks to your inner state, and people pick up on that energy instantly, often before they register any of the individual actions. The goal here is not to overthink every move, but rather to practice mindfulness so that your body's actions naturally align with your deeper intentions. When you make intentional movements, they become an extension of your thoughts, emotions, and presence. You don't simply move for the sake of movement, but instead, each gesture is infused with purpose. For instance, consider how you use your hands when speaking. A gesture that feels fluid and natural, whether it's a slight movement of the hand to emphasize a point or a gentle wave to draw someone in, can make you seem more engaged and dynamic without ever overwhelming the conversation. Intentionality in movement reflects authenticity. When you move consciously, you allow yourself to express exactly what you feel without the need for words, and that resonates deeply with others. It creates a sense of confidence and control, not because you're trying to dominate, but because you've learned to align your inner state with your outward expression. This is the art of moving without force, of using motion to communicate more authentically. When you embrace intentional motion, you also become more adaptable. Instead of being restricted by old, habitual ways of moving, you gain the flexibility to adjust based on the energy of the moment. In a tense conversation, for example, a simple, deliberate pause in your movement can send a signal of calm, a choice to be present rather than reactive. On the other hand, in a moment of connection, an open gesture or a relaxed posture can invite intimacy. Intentional movement allows you to choose the energy you bring into any situation. You stop responding to the external world reactively, and instead begin to shape the energy of the room with your very presence. This adaptability is what makes your body language not just an outward reflection of your thoughts, but a tool of influence. And because it is subtle, it works beneath the surface, quietly building rapport, trust, and connection. Avoiding fidget energy. While subtle movements can enhance your presence, fidgeting and erratic motions can have the opposite effect. We've all experienced it: the nervous tap of a foot, the restless shifting in a chair, or the incessant scratching of the back of the neck. These fidgeting habits often arise when we feel anxious, bored, or uncertain, but they have an insidious way of diminishing our influence. When you fidget, your energy becomes fragmented. It sends a signal of unease and distraction, and it can cause others to feel uncomfortable or distracted by your lack of grounding. These movements, while seemingly harmless, undermine the very message you're trying to communicate. They convey a lack of control over your own body, and in turn, undermine your authority in the room. People naturally gravitate towards calm, centered individuals, those who don't need to fill the silence with nervous energy. The good news is that fidgeting is not a permanent trait. It is a habit that can be broken with awareness. To reduce fidget energy, you must first become conscious of it. Start by paying attention to when your body begins to move without purpose, when you shift, tap, or gesture mindlessly. Once you notice these movements, you can begin to replace them with purposeful, controlled gestures. This isn't about forcing yourself into a state of rigidity, but rather about learning how to move with intention. Small adjustments, like pausing before you respond or grounding yourself in a more stable posture, can eliminate the need for nervous motion. When you reduce fidgeting, your presence becomes more consistent, more grounded. You stop being pulled by the energy of your surroundings and instead bring your own energy to the table, calm, composed, and magnetic. When you stop fidgeting, you create more space for others to feel at ease. Your movements communicate that you are in control, present, and not distracted by the internal noise that often drives restlessness. This is what makes subtle movements so powerful. They allow you to be present and steady, creating a calm, controlled environment that invites others to relax. In doing so, you shift the dynamic of the room. You become the one who holds the space, not because you fill it with energy, but because you make space for others to find their own peace in your presence. In mastering the art of subtle movements, you gain control over how you are perceived and how you influence those around you. It's not about making grand gestures or showing off your physicality. It's about learning how to move with intention. how to allow your body to express calm, openness, and confidence without dominating the moment. When you harness the power of small gestures, intentional motion, and eliminate fidget energy, you begin to speak the silent language of influence. People feel drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because of how you move. And in that quiet movement, your magnetism is born. Chapter 7. Emotional Resonance. In the complex dance of human interaction, emotions are the invisible forces that shape the way we connect with others. They are more than just internal states. They are powerful waves that ripple outward, affecting the energy of the room, the dynamics of conversations, and the atmosphere in ways that words often cannot. Our bodies are finely tuned instruments, constantly sending out signals that communicate our emotional states, whether we're aware of it or not. These signals, subtle and quiet, have the potential to resonate deeply with others, drawing them toward us or pushing them away. The emotional energy we emit is like a silent music, a rhythm that can harmonize with others or create dissonance. This is the silent influence of emotional resonance, the ability to use our emotional energy to shape our interactions and connections without ever needing to say a word. Understanding this silent power is key to mastering nonverbal influence, as it allows us to create the emotional tone of a room and guide the emotional currents of our relationships. Emotions as silent waves. Every person we meet, every conversation we engage in, is steeped in an emotional exchange. Emotions don't just reside within us. They radiate outward in waves, influencing the world around us. Much like the subtle shift of a current in the ocean, emotions flow and interact with one another, creating an undercurrent that shapes how we experience each moment. When you walk into a room, you can often feel the mood before anyone speaks. You might not be able to pinpoint it exactly, but you know whether the atmosphere is tense, relaxed, excited, or uneasy. This is the invisible emotional resonance at work. Our bodies are constantly broadcasting emotional signals through our facial expressions, posture, and even the smallest gestures. These signals are received by others, often on a subconscious level, and the emotional waves we send out have the power to influence how others feel in our presence. Consider a situation where you enter a room filled with people. If you are feeling calm and centered, this emotional state will be reflected in your body language, your relaxed posture, steady breathing, and confident but composed demeanor. Without saying a word, you communicate to those around you that the environment is safe, stable, and peaceful. People subconsciously pick up on these signals and begin to mirror your emotional state. In a similar situation, if you walk into the same room feeling anxious or frustrated, your emotions will manifest in your body language, perhaps as tension in your shoulders, a tightness in your jaw, or rapid movements. These emotional waves will be picked up by others, and the room may suddenly feel charged with unease. People will unconsciously begin to mirror your energy, creating a ripple effect that amplifies the initial emotional state you entered with. This is the silent, invisible power of emotional resonance. It is a constant undercurrent in all human interactions, one that shapes the dynamics of every room we enter and every conversation we have. What's remarkable about emotional resonance is that it is not limited to the emotions we consciously choose to express. We may attempt to hide our feelings, but our bodies have a way of revealing them regardless. A furrowed brow, a quick glance, a shift in posture. All of these small subconscious signals convey our emotional state far more than our words ever could. And the reverse is true as well. When we choose to be mindful of the emotional energy we bring into a space, we can intentionally shift the mood of the room by adjusting our own emotional state. By consciously cultivating emotional awareness and control, we can create an environment that is conducive to connection, understanding, and influence without the need for any overt actions or words. It is the silent power of emotions that shapes the tone of every interaction and guides the flow of human connection. How you tune a room. The concept of emotional resonance extends beyond individual interactions. It can shape the atmosphere of an entire room. Think of yourself as an emotional conductor, subtly orchestrating the energy that moves through a group of people. In every social interaction, we play a part in the emotional dynamics of a space, whether we realize it or not. We have the ability to tune a room, to set the emotional tone of the environment by either amplifying or calming the energy around us. The key to tuning a room lies in our awareness of the emotional energy we are sending out and the ability to adjust it according to the needs of the situation. Just as a musician adjusts the tone of their instrument to blend harmoniously with the rest of the orchestra, we must adjust our emotional energy to create the desired atmosphere in the room. This tuning process begins with self-awareness. If you are in a meeting and sense that the energy is tense, the first step is to notice how you are feeling. Are you contributing to the tension with your own emotional state? Or are you able to ground yourself and project a sense of calm? By consciously choosing to regulate your emotional state, whether through deep breathing, calming your thoughts, or grounding your energy, you begin to influence the emotional temperature of the room. People will begin to mirror your energy, and the collective mood of the group will shift. In this way, you are not merely reacting to the emotions of others. You are actively shaping the emotional landscape around you. Tuning a room is not about suppressing emotions or forcing a particular mood, but about being intentional with the energy you bring into the space. It's about recognizing the emotional currents that are already at play and either amplifying or diffusing them. In a moment of high tension, for example, instead of adding to the stress, you can create a calming effect by speaking slowly, using measured gestures, and exuding calm through your body language. In contrast, if the room feels lethargic or disengaged, you can elevate the energy by projecting enthusiasm, using open and inviting gestures, and making your movements larger and more animated. By doing this, you influence not only how you are perceived, but also how the group dynamic unfolds. You become a source of emotional influence, not by forcing anything, but by subtly guiding the energy with the resonance of your emotions. Staying neutral in intensity. While emotional resonance can be a powerful tool for influence, it is also important to recognize the value of neutrality in certain situations. Intensity, whether high or low, can be overwhelming, especially in moments of conflict, stress, or disagreement. It's easy to get swept up in the emotional current of a charged situation, but to truly influence the outcome, it is often more effective to remain neutral in intensity. Neutrality is not about suppressing your emotions, but about maintaining control over them so they do not dominate the interaction. By staying neutral, you allow space for others to express themselves without being overwhelmed by your emotional energy. This creates an environment where open communication is possible and solutions can emerge without being clouded by heightened emotions. Neutrality in intensity is particularly valuable in situations where you need to maintain authority or create balance in the room. In a leadership role, for example, remaining emotionally neutral allows you to approach challenges objectively without letting your personal emotions cloud your judgment. It also signals to others that you are in control, calm under pressure, and capable of navigating complex emotional dynamics. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or pretend to be detached. It means you recognize the power of your emotional energy and choose to use it wisely without letting it overpower the situation. By mastering emotional neutrality, you can guide interactions with grace and wisdom, ensuring that your influence remains calm, grounded, and focused on the bigger picture. Being neutral in emotional intensity also helps build trust. People naturally gravitate toward those who are emotionally stable, as they provide a sense of safety and reliability. When you are able to regulate your emotional energy, you create an environment where others feel comfortable sharing their own feelings without fear of judgment or backlash. In this space, deep connections can be made and true influence can occur. You become a silent magnet, drawing people toward you not through forceful emotions or dramatic gestures, but through the steadiness of your presence and the trust you inspire. Emotional resonance is one of the most powerful and subtle forms of nonverbal influence. By understanding how emotions operate as silent waves, learning to tune a room with your energy, and staying neutral in intensity, you can shape the emotional dynamics of any situation without uttering a single word. Your emotional energy becomes a silent, magnetic force that draws others in, allowing you to influence not only how others feel in your presence, but also how they perceive you. By mastering this emotional resonance, you can transform the way you connect with others and build a presence that is magnetic, calming, and deeply influential. Chapter 8: Boundaries and Containment. As we journey through life, we often face the delicate dance of how much of ourselves we give to others, how much we hold back, and how we manage the invisible yet powerful boundaries that define our personal space and energy. The ability to create and maintain boundaries is one of the most vital aspects of emotional and physical presence, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood and underappreciated. Many people mistakenly believe that being open and unguarded is the key to forming strong connections with others. While openness has its place, true influence, especially the kind of silent influence that draws people in, requires something more. Self-containment. Self-containment is the ability to regulate your emotions, your energy, and your presence in such a way that you maintain a sense of internal balance and control, no matter what is happening around you. It is the art of holding your space, of radiating calm and confidence without being overtly expressive or dominating the room. This subtle yet powerful form of influence is often invisible to the naked eye, yet it is one of the most magnetic forces you can develop. When you master the art of containment, you not only safeguard your own energy, but also create an environment where others feel safe, respected, and drawn to your grounded presence. The aura of self-containment. Imagine walking into a room and feeling the energy shift as soon as you enter. Without a word or gesture, the entire atmosphere changes, and everyone becomes aware of your presence. This is the power of self-containment. Self-containment is not about building walls or shutting people out. It is about holding your energy in such a way that it doesn't spill over uncontrollably. It is the ability to remain calm, composed, and centered, even in situations that might otherwise provoke anxiety, stress, or emotional overwhelm. The more you develop this skill, the more your presence will have an invisible force that quietly commands attention and respect. People will sense your steadiness, your ability to stay grounded no matter what's happening around you, and they will naturally gravitate toward you. Self-containment radiates an aura of inner strength, a silent confidence that draws others in without the need for loud or overt displays of power. It is like the stillness at the center of a storm, calm, composed, and powerful. This aura of self-containment is not something that happens overnight. It is cultivated through consistent self-awareness and emotional regulation. It begins with understanding your own emotional state and how it manifests in your body. When you become aware of the subtle shifts in your energy, whether it's a spike in tension, a surge of excitement, or a wave of frustration, you can take steps to regulate those emotions before they overwhelm you. This could involve taking a deep breath, pausing before reacting, or even taking a mental step back from the situation. Over time, these small practices build the muscle of self-containment, allowing you to remain unaffected by external triggers and to hold your energy in a way that feels grounded and stable. It is through this self-regulation that you begin to emit a quiet, powerful energy that others cannot help but notice and respect. They may not understand why they feel drawn to you, but they will instinctively recognize that you are someone who is in control of themselves, and that is magnetic. Energetic leakage versus magnetism. As much as self-containment is a powerful tool, the opposite, energetic leakage, is something that can undermine our presence and influence without us even realizing it. Energetic leakage occurs when we fail to contain our emotional energy, allowing it to spill out in a way that weakens our presence and causes us to lose control over the room. This leakage can happen through a variety of means: uncontrolled gestures, nervous movements, fidgeting, or even an overly expressive face that reveals emotions we may not want to show. When we leak energy in this way, we create an imbalance in our presence. Instead of radiating calm and confidence, we appear scattered, anxious, or overwhelmed. This is the opposite of magnetic presence. It repels people rather than drawing them in. People are naturally attuned to the energy we project, and when our energy is leaking or fragmented, it is difficult for others to connect with us in a meaningful way. We lose the sense of composure that makes us seem steady and in control, and instead, we become a source of instability in the room. The key to combating energetic leakage is becoming hyper-aware of how your energy manifests through your body and actions. Are you unconsciously fidgeting with your hands or tapping your foot? Are you allowing your thoughts and emotions to create nervous tension in your body? If so, you are allowing your energy to leak out, leaving you vulnerable and out of control. But by learning to contain your energy, you can avoid these pitfalls and maintain a powerful presence that is calm, collected, and confident. To do this, practice grounding techniques that help you bring your focus back to your center. These techniques might include taking a moment to pause and breathe deeply, focusing on the sensation of your feet on the ground, or even gently tightening your core muscles to anchor your energy. When you are able to contain your energy in this way, you stop the leakage and begin to radiate magnetism. Your energy becomes steady, focused, and powerful, drawing people toward you without any need for forceful gestures or words. You no longer appear scattered or uncertain. You become someone who is grounded, calm, and in control of their energy. The more you practice containing your energy, the more you will notice how your presence shifts. You will begin to notice that people are more likely to listen when you speak, that conversations feel more balanced and focused, and that you have a subtle influence over the emotional tone of the room. This is the power of magnetism, the ability to attract and influence others through the silent, powerful force of your contained energy. You no longer have to chase attention or approval. Your presence speaks for itself, quietly commanding the respect and focus of those around you. When silence is your shield. One of the most powerful aspects of self-containment is the ability to use silence as a shield. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is an active force in communication, a space that allows for reflection, thought, and control. When you are in control of your energy and presence, you can use silence strategically as a way to protect yourself from external emotional forces. In moments of conflict or tension, when emotions are running high and words are being thrown around, silence can be your shield. Instead of reacting impulsively or getting drawn into the emotional drama, you remain silent, allowing the situation to unfold without adding fuel to the fire. This is not a passive silence. It is an active choice to hold your ground and maintain control over your emotional energy. By staying silent, you create space for clarity, for deeper understanding, and for the situation to resolve itself without unnecessary escalation. Silence as a shield is particularly effective in high-stakes situations, such as difficult negotiations, intense conversations, or moments of conflict. When you refuse to be pulled into emotional reactivity, you maintain your composure and avoid getting caught in the chaos. This gives you the advantage of emotional clarity and the ability to respond thoughtfully and strategically rather than impulsively. Silence also has the power to convey authority. When you choose not to react immediately, you signal to others that you are in control of the situation and are not easily swayed by emotional currents. It is an expression of strength, of confidence in your ability to remain steady and grounded. People often respect silence because it is rare in a world where everyone is constantly speaking and reacting. When you master the art of silence, you wield it as a shield that protects your energy and maintains your influence, no matter the circumstances. In conclusion, self-containment and energetic boundaries are the foundation of nonverbal influence. When you learn to contain your energy, avoid energetic leakage, and use silence strategically, you begin to radiate a powerful, magnetic presence that draws people toward you. You become someone who is steady, composed, and in control of their emotional energy, creating an environment where trust and respect naturally flourish. Through the practice of containment, you can navigate any situation with grace, confidence, and the subtle strength that comes from holding your own space in a noisy, chaotic world. Chapter 9. The Magnetic Listener. The true depth of human connection is not built on the words we speak, but on the way we listen. Most people think of listening as a passive act, simply hearing the words that are spoken. But true listening goes much deeper. It is an active, dynamic process that requires presence, attention, and a sensitivity to what is not being said. The magnetic listener understands that every conversation is an opportunity to create a powerful bond, to make others feel heard, valued, and understood without uttering a single word. This is the essence of nonverbal influence, the ability to create a connection through the act of truly listening. By developing the skill of magnetic listening, you can cultivate relationships that are built on trust and empathy, drawing people toward you without saying anything at all. In fact, some of the most profound moments of connection happen not through words, but through the space we hold while others speak. The simple act of truly listening with presence can transform the way people experience you, creating a sense of warmth, understanding, and deep connection that goes far beyond surface-level conversation. Listening as an active presence. Listening, when done correctly, is far from passive. It is an active and deliberate engagement of your mind, body, and energy. To listen effectively, you must be fully present in the moment, setting aside your own thoughts, distractions, and judgments to focus entirely on the speaker. This requires a deep level of mindfulness, a conscious decision to quiet the internal chatter and tune in to the person before you. As you engage with someone in conversation, your entire presence should be directed toward them, allowing their words to fill the space between you without interference. This is the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is a passive, mechanical process, while listening is an active, intentional act of receiving and understanding. When you listen actively, you are not merely waiting for your turn to speak. You are engaging with the speaker's words, emotions, and energy in a way that makes them feel truly heard. Active listening involves not just paying attention to the words being said, but also to the subtler cues, the tone of voice, the pauses, the body language, and the unspoken emotions that are conveyed through every gesture and expression. It requires the ability to tune into the speaker's deeper needs and feelings beyond what is explicitly stated. Often, what people say is only a fraction of the message they are trying to convey. Much of the meaning is hidden beneath the surface, in the unsaid and the unspoken. The magnetic listener is adept at reading these unspoken cues, picking up on the emotions and intentions behind the words, and responding with empathy and understanding. This level of listening creates a powerful connection, one that transcends the words themselves and speaks directly to the heart of the other person. When you listen with this kind of active presence, you become a mirror for the speaker, reflecting back their thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a way that makes them feel validated and understood. Making people feel seen without speaking. One of the most powerful gifts you can give another person is the experience of being seen, not just heard, but truly seen for who they are. Most people go through life feeling misunderstood or overlooked, and the act of genuinely acknowledging someone without judgment can be incredibly impactful. When you listen in a way that makes others feel truly seen, you create a sense of connection that is deeply magnetic. This is not about offering solutions or advice, but simply being present and showing that you understand and respect their experience. When someone feels seen, they feel valued, and this sense of validation fosters trust and intimacy, even without a single word being exchanged. This type of listening is one of the most powerful ways to create lasting relationships, as it establishes a foundation of mutual respect and empathy. It is a form of silent communication that speaks volumes about your ability to connect with others on a deeper level. To make others feel seen, it is essential to practice full engagement in the moment. This means giving the speaker your undivided attention, maintaining eye contact, and using your body language to show that you are completely present with them. A slight nod, a softening of your posture, or a quiet breath in response to their words can all communicate that you are truly with them in this moment. Your facial expressions should mirror the emotions being conveyed, showing empathy and understanding. This kind of nonverbal affirmation helps to create a space where the speaker feels safe to express themselves fully. People are drawn to those who make them feel understood, and when you cultivate this ability to make others feel seen without speaking, you become a magnet for trust, respect, and connection. It is important to note that this form of listening is not about agreeing with everything the other person says, but rather about recognizing their perspective and validating their feelings. By allowing others to share their thoughts and emotions freely, you give them the space to explore and process their own experiences, which in turn fosters a sense of connection and understanding. In relationships, whether personal or professional, the ability to make others feel seen without words is one of the most powerful ways to build trust and influence. People who feel seen are more likely to open up, share their ideas, and engage with you in meaningful ways, creating a deep and lasting bond. Nodding, mirroring, and breath matching. While listening with full presence is essential, there are also subtle, nonverbal techniques that can enhance your ability to connect with others and strengthen your magnetic presence. Nodding, mirroring, and breath matching are three simple yet powerful tools that can help you deepen your listening skills and make the other person feel truly understood. These techniques are grounded in the idea of empathy and nonverbal synchronization, the ability to match the energy, rhythm, and emotional tone of the speaker in a way that enhances the connection. Nodding is a subtle yet effective way to show that you are actively engaged and processing the information being shared. A gentle nod, timed with the speaker's words, communicates that you are following their thoughts and that you understand their point of view. This small gesture goes a long way in creating a sense of validation, as it signals to the speaker that their words are having an impact. Similarly, mirroring the speaker's body language can enhance the connection by creating a sense of harmony and mutual understanding. If the speaker leans forward, you might subtly lean forward as well. If they cross their arms, you might do the same. This unconscious mimicry signals that you are attuned to their energy and emotional state, which fosters trust and connection. While this may seem like a simple technique, it is highly effective in building rapport and creating a deep sense of alignment with the speaker. Breath matching is another powerful tool in the art of magnetic listening. This involves subtly matching the rhythm of the speaker's breath as they speak. If they take slow, deep breaths, you might unconsciously slow your own breathing to match their pace. This creates a sense of synchronization and connection, as if you are both operating on the same emotional wavelength. Breath matching not only helps to create a physical alignment between you and the speaker, but it also signals empathy and understanding, as you are responding to their energy and emotions on a deeper physiological level. When you use these techniques, nodding, mirroring, and breath matching, you enhance your ability to listen actively and create a magnetic connection that draws people toward you. They will feel that you are completely in tune with them, that you are not just hearing their words, but feeling their emotions and responding with care and attention. Becoming a magnetic listener is one of the most powerful ways to build influence without speaking a word. By listening with active presence, making others feel seen and understood, and using subtle, nonverbal techniques like nodding, mirroring, and breath matching, you can create deep, lasting connections that transcend words. Listening is not just about hearing. It is about understanding, empathizing, and creating an emotional resonance with others. When you master this skill, you become a magnet for trust, connection, and influence, drawing people toward you without ever having to force the conversation. Chapter 10. The Silent Charisma. Formula. Charisma is often seen as an innate trait, something that certain people have and others simply don't. Yet, what if charisma could be cultivated? What if it were not the result of loudness or force, but rather the product of a quiet, confident presence? The truth is that charisma isn't about speaking in a way that demands attention or performing for others. True charisma emerges when we possess the ability to command attention without speaking a word, to exude energy without forcing it. It's the magnetic pull that draws others in simply by being. In this chapter, we will explore how silent charisma operates and how to create an aura of influence without uttering a single syllable. At its core, silent charisma is born out of two powerful elements: confidence and calm. Together, these traits combine to create an almost palpable force, one that doesn't need words to make an impact. When you become someone who radiates these qualities, people are naturally drawn to you. They feel your energy and are intrigued, eager to understand what lies beneath your quiet exterior. Silent charisma is the art of presence, of owning a room without dominating it, of making an impression that lasts long after the conversation has ended. Confidence plus calm equals charisma. The first and perhaps most important ingredient in the silent charisma formula is confidence. Confidence is not the loud, showy kind of self-assurance that demands attention. Instead, it is the quiet belief in your own worth, the steady acknowledgement of your own value, and the understanding that you have nothing to prove. It is an inner peace that radiates outward, creating an unshakable aura of presence. When you are confident in who you are, you don't need to constantly seek validation from others. You know your own strength, and this internal certainty is what others will pick up on. Confidence in silence isn't about standing rigidly or trying to control the room. Rather, it's about being comfortable in your own skin, fully present, and grounded in your truth. When you exude confidence, people feel it. They sense that you are someone who knows their value and doesn't feel the need to shout it from the rooftops. This quiet assurance makes others feel secure in your presence, and it commands respect without demanding it. However, confidence alone is not enough. The second crucial element of silent charisma is calm. Calmness is the counterbalance to confidence. It is the stillness that allows the confident energy to flow without becoming overwhelming or abrasive. Calmness is what helps you maintain control of a situation even when emotions run high or the environment becomes tense. It's the ability to remain centered and unshaken no matter what happens around you. When you are calm, you are not swayed by external circumstances. Your inner peace becomes your most powerful tool, allowing you to make decisions, interact with others, and lead without losing your composure. Calmness is magnetic in its own right. People are drawn to those who radiate an air of serenity, who seem unbothered by the chaos of the world. It is the kind of calm that makes others feel at ease, confident in the knowledge that they are safe in your presence. The combination of confidence and calm creates a sense of security, stability, and power that people naturally gravitate toward. Together, they form the foundation of silent charisma, an aura of influence that speaks volumes without saying a word. How silence can spark curiosity. While charisma is often linked to confidence, there is an intriguing paradox at play. Silence itself can spark curiosity and intrigue. In a world where so many people are constantly talking, the quiet individual stands out. People are naturally drawn to what they don't understand, and silence is a powerful way to create an air of mystery. When you are comfortable with silence, you don't feel the need to fill every pause with words. Instead, you allow space for the other person to wonder, to reflect, and to lean in. Silence creates a gap, a moment where curiosity is born. It is during these pauses that people start to wonder about you. Why aren't you speaking? What are you thinking? What is it that you are not saying? This sense of mystery is magnetic. It draws people in, prompting them to want to know more. But it's important to understand that silence doesn't mean being distant or disengaged. Rather, it is the art of using pauses and nonverbal cues to allow the other person to take the lead. When you remain quiet but present, people are encouraged to fill the space with their own thoughts and ideas. They become invested in the conversation, eager to understand the person behind the silence. The key to using silence to spark curiosity is to embrace it without anxiety. Too often we fear silence because it feels uncomfortable. We worry that if we don't fill the air with words, people will think we are awkward or disinterested. However, when you are comfortable in silence, it actually creates an opportunity for the other person to step forward and engage with you more deeply. It signals that you are confident enough in your presence to let the moment breathe, allowing the other person to feel heard and understood. As they speak, they will begin to feel that their words matter, and they will become more attuned to your energy. This subtle dance of silence can create a profound connection, as people are drawn to those who make them feel seen and valued. When you embrace silence as a tool, you become a person who commands attention without trying to take it. You are the still, centered force in the room, and others will naturally want to be close to you, not because you are speaking, but because you make them feel something important and meaningful. Letting others lean in. The most powerful thing you can do with your silent charisma is to let others lean in. This doesn't mean withdrawing or being distant. It means creating space for others to engage with you on a deeper level. When you exude quiet confidence and calm, others will want to interact with you. They will feel drawn to your presence and will be inclined to seek your input, your attention, and your approval. The key to this interaction is subtlety. Instead of forcing attention onto yourself, you allow others to come toward you naturally. You don't chase after people or try to dominate the conversation. Instead, you remain centered and available, allowing others to step into your orbit when they are ready. This creates an environment of mutual respect, where the other person feels free to engage at their own pace, without feeling pressured or overwhelmed. By allowing others to lean in, you are also giving them the opportunity to contribute in their own way, to share their thoughts and ideas, and to feel as though they are part of the dynamic. This approach is particularly powerful in social and professional settings, where people often feel the need to impress or be the center of attention. When you are someone who doesn't actively seek attention, but simply remains present, others will naturally gravitate toward you. They will feel that they can speak freely, that their words matter, and that they have your full attention without having to compete for it. This creates a sense of ease and connection as people feel more comfortable in your presence. You are the anchor in the conversation, the calm center that allows others to express themselves and contribute meaningfully. When you let others lean in, you empower them to shine, and this, in turn, enhances your own magnetic presence. It is the subtle art of making people feel valued and respected, all without ever having to force the spotlight onto yourself. And in doing so, you cultivate an influence that is far more powerful and enduring than any performance could ever be. Silent charisma is not a product of loudness or force. It is the result of cultivating confidence, calm, and the ability to create an aura of intrigue through silence. When you understand that charisma is about presence, not performance, you can begin to develop a magnetic influence that draws others to you, without uttering a word. By embracing confidence, using silence to spark curiosity, and allowing others to lean in, you become a figure of quiet authority and compelling magnetism. This is the true power of silent charisma, an influence that doesn't need to shout to be heard, an energy that doesn't need to be forced to make an impact. And when you master these principles, you will find that your presence speaks louder than anything you could ever say. Chapter 11. Silent Influence in Relationships. The world of human connection is often dominated by spoken words, yet in reality, our relationships are shaped just as much, if not more, by what is not said. Nonverbal cues, subtle gestures, and shared silences play a profound role in determining the depth of our connections with others. Often, we find ourselves in situations where words seem inadequate, where spoken language cannot fully express what we feel. Yet it is precisely in these moments that silent influence becomes most powerful. In relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, our presence, energy, and unspoken communication can be far more influential than anything we might say aloud. Silent influence in relationships is not about withdrawing or being distant. Rather, it's about learning to connect with others on a deeper level without the need for constant verbal interaction. It's about cultivating the ability to speak volumes through body language, gestures, and the energy you radiate, allowing you to strengthen connections, nurture intimacy, and resolve conflicts in ways that transcend the limitations of words. This chapter will explore how you can use silent influence to create deeper, more meaningful relationships, ones that are built on trust, mutual respect, and an unspoken understanding. Through silent influence, you become more attuned to the needs of others, more aware of the energy you bring into the room, and more capable of fostering connections that go beyond surface-level interactions. Speaking volumes without words. One of the most powerful ways to exert silent influence in relationships is through the art of speaking volumes without words. In every interaction, whether with a friend, a partner, or a colleague, your body communicates messages that speak far louder than your words ever could. The way you stand, the tone of your voice, the subtle expressions on your face. All of these nonverbal cues convey more about your thoughts and feelings than the most carefully chosen words. Consider a moment when someone has looked at you with a certain expression, perhaps a knowing glance, a soft smile, or a furrowed brow. In that moment, you knew exactly how they felt, even though they said nothing at all. This silent communication is the bedrock of connection. It is what allows us to bond with others and truly understand each other, often on a deeper level than verbal communication alone can achieve. The power of nonverbal cues lies in their ability to bypass the filters of language and directly tap into our emotions, instincts, and subconscious. When we are attuned to these silent signals, we can speak to others without ever uttering a word. This creates a unique and profound sense of understanding, as if we are able to converse in a language that is shared only between the two of us. In relationships, this kind of silent communication is invaluable. It enables us to read the unspoken needs and desires of our partners, to understand when they are struggling even before they say a word, and to offer comfort and support without needing to explain ourselves. It is the ability to be deeply present with someone without needing to constantly articulate every thought and feeling. Speaking volumes without words isn't about replacing verbal communication. It's about complementing it, about adding another layer to the relationship that enhances the depth of the connection. Intimacy through still presence. One of the most profound ways to deepen any relationship is through still presence. In a world that constantly demands action, reaction, and verbal expression, the simple act of being present in stillness can create an intimacy that words cannot match. Stillness is not about being silent out of awkwardness or avoidance. Rather, It is about being fully engaged and attentive in the moment, without the need to fill every space with conversation. Think about the most intimate moments you've shared with someone. Sometimes, the most meaningful connections occur when there is no need for words at all. The quiet moments shared on a walk, sitting side by side, or even just sharing a quiet meal together often hold more emotional depth than any conversation could. Stillness allows for the kind of intimacy that transcends verbal communication, creating a bond that is felt rather than spoken. In these moments, both parties are fully attuned to one another, absorbing each other's energy, emotions, and presence without needing to articulate every thought. This silent connection allows us to experience the depth of intimacy in a way that words sometimes fail to express. It is in these moments of still presence that true emotional closeness can be cultivated. When we are able to simply be with someone without the pressure to perform or entertain, we create a space where vulnerability can thrive. This vulnerability, in turn, strengthens the emotional foundation of the relationship, fostering trust, understanding, and a sense of safety. Stillness isn't about retreating or withdrawing from the relationship. It is about offering your undivided attention and creating a space where the other person feels heard, seen, and valued. In this way, stillness becomes a form of silent influence, a tool for creating deeper, more authentic connections. Navigating conflict silently. In every relationship, conflict is inevitable. Disagreements, misunderstandings, and differences of opinion are a natural part of human interaction. However, how we navigate conflict can significantly impact the strength and longevity of the relationship. One of the most powerful tools for resolving conflict is the ability to communicate without words, to use silence as a means of diffusing tension and fostering understanding. During a heated disagreement, it can be easy to fall into the trap of reacting impulsively, of speaking in anger or frustration. But silence offers a powerful alternative. In moments of conflict, silence allows us to pause, to collect our thoughts, and to prevent ourselves from saying something we might regret. Instead of reacting out of emotion, we can choose to remain still, to listen more deeply, and to allow the situation to unfold without rushing to respond. This pause in communication can provide a valuable space for both parties to reflect on their feelings and gain clarity before continuing the conversation. It also allows the other person to feel heard, as they are given the space to express themselves without interruption or judgment. When we practice this form of silent influence during conflict, we show our commitment to the relationship and our respect for the other person's perspective. It demonstrates emotional maturity and a willingness to engage in a more thoughtful, compassionate dialogue. Moreover, silence in conflict doesn't mean withdrawing or becoming passive. It means choosing to respond with intention rather than react impulsively. It is the art of holding space for both your emotions and the other person's, creating an environment where resolution can be reached peacefully and with mutual respect. Silent influence is a powerful force in relationships. By speaking volumes without words, cultivating intimacy through still presence, and navigating conflict silently, we create a deeper level of connection and understanding with others. The ability to influence without speaking is not about withdrawing from the relationship, but about becoming more attuned to the nonverbal dynamics at play. It's about being fully present, engaged, and emotionally intelligent, allowing us to communicate on a level that transcends language. Silent influence helps us build trust, intimacy, and respect, three of the most essential components of any strong and lasting relationship. When we master the art of silent influence, we unlock the potential for deeper, more meaningful connections with those around us, creating relationships that are rooted in understanding, empathy, and unspoken bonds. Chapter 12. Leadership without noise. Leadership, as we traditionally think of it, often revolves around taking charge, making decisions, and, most notably, speaking. The idea of a leader being someone who constantly communicates, rallies, and motivates their team is deeply ingrained in our cultural understanding of leadership. However, true leadership transcends this notion. The most influential leaders often do not need to raise their voices or deliver long speeches to command attention, respect, and loyalty. Instead, they lead with their presence, their energy, and their ability to inspire through quiet authority. This is leadership without noise, a kind of leadership that is felt rather than heard. It is subtle, yet immensely powerful. This chapter will explore the concept of leadership through silent influence, focusing on how silence can be leveraged to create a commanding presence, foster trust, and lead effectively without the need for loud declarations. It will examine how a leader's energy, body language, and stillness can shape the environment around them and guide others with just a glance, a gesture, or a quiet moment of reflection. Silent leadership is not about withholding communication, but rather about mastering the art of communicating without words. The most effective leaders understand that their presence speaks volumes, often more than anything they could say aloud. Through this chapter, you will gain insights into how you can harness your own silent influence to become a leader who inspires, motivates, and guides others without the need for constant noise. The nonverbal leader. At its core, leadership is about influence. The most effective leaders have the ability to influence others in a way that feels natural and effortless. This kind of influence does not rely on persuasive speeches or commanding words. It is about the unspoken connection between the leader and their followers. Nonverbal communication plays a significant role in this dynamic. The way a leader carries themselves, their posture, their facial expressions, the energy they project, can have a profound impact on those around them. A leader who stands tall, moves with purpose, and maintains calm eye contact exudes authority without uttering a word. These subtle cues tell others that the leader is confident, grounded, and in control. In moments of uncertainty or crisis, the nonverbal cues of a leader become even more critical. When a leader remains composed, calm, and measured, it sends a clear message to the team. Everything will be okay. This kind of silent leadership instills a sense of trust and security in others. They know that the leader has the strength to handle the situation and that they can follow without fear of being misled or unsupported. The nonverbal leader is not one who commands attention through loud declarations, but rather one who commands respect through their very presence. They lead by example, letting their actions speak louder than words. In doing so, they create an environment where others feel safe, valued, and empowered to contribute. This form of leadership is not about being the loudest or the most vocal. It's about being the most grounded, the most calm, and the most centered in any given situation. Trust through consistency. One of the most powerful tools in silent leadership is the ability to build the trust through consistency. Trust is the foundation of any successful leadership dynamic, and it is often built not through grand gestures or speeches, but through the steady, reliable actions of the leader. A leader who consistently demonstrates calmness, clarity, and integrity, who remains unwavering in their principles, creates a stable environment in which others can thrive. Silence plays a key role in this consistency. When a leader is consistent in their actions and demeanor, they create a sense of predictability and reliability. This consistency, especially when it comes to nonverbal communication, reassures those around them that they are trustworthy and dependable. Silence allows a leader to maintain a steady presence, especially in times of turbulence. Instead of reacting impulsively or giving in to the noise of the moment, the silent leader remains composed, allowing the situation to unfold without jumping to conclusions or making hasty decisions. This consistency builds confidence in the leader's ability to navigate challenges effectively and with calm resolve. Trust is not built through grand declarations, but through quiet, steady actions over time. The silent leader understands this, and they use their consistency, whether in their body language, their reactions, or their decision-making, to foster a deep sense of trust in those they lead. Over time, this trust becomes the bedrock of a strong and resilient team, one that can weather any storm with confidence in their leader's steady hand. Owning space without dominating it. Another key element of silent leadership is the ability to own space without dominating it. In many leadership situations, there is a tendency to assume that a leader must take up as much space as possible, both physically and metaphorically. This often leads to leaders who are loud, domineering, and constantly in the spotlight. However, true silent leadership is about occupying space with authority, without the need for force or aggression. A leader who owns space is someone who is comfortable in their own skin and secure in their role. They do not need to prove anything through volume or overt displays of power. Instead, they naturally command attention and respect through their presence and demeanor. This can be seen in the way they carry themselves, standing tall, with an open posture, and moving with purpose. It can also be seen in their ability to listen attentively, without interrupting or trying to dominate the conversation. Owning space is also about being present without overshadowing others. It's about creating a space where others feel comfortable, valued, and heard. The silent leader is confident enough to step back when needed, allowing others to take the lead and contribute. This is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. The strength to trust others and the wisdom to recognize when it is appropriate to let someone else step forward. By owning space in this way, a leader creates an environment where collaboration, creativity, and growth can thrive. They do not seek to control or dominate. Instead, they create a space where others can shine while still providing guidance and direction when necessary. Silent leadership in high-stakes moments. In high-stakes situations, when the pressure is on and emotions are running high, the ability to lead with silence becomes even more crucial. In these moments, words can be fleeting, and emotions can cloud judgment. The silent leader, however, maintains a level of calm and clarity that allows them to make sound decisions under pressure. This is not about avoiding difficult conversations or shying away from making tough calls. It's about maintaining composure and perspective in the face of adversity. When a crisis arises, the leader who remains silent, who listens, reflects, and assesses the situation without rushing to speak, creates a space where others can feel calm and focused. They act as a stabilizing force, holding space for the team to process their emotions and thoughts before acting. In these high-stakes moments, the silent leader also demonstrates the importance of restraint. They understand that sometimes the best course of action is not to rush in with a solution, but to hold space for others to express their concerns and ideas. This allows the leader to gather all the necessary information before making a decision, ensuring that the best possible outcome is achieved. Silent leadership in high-stakes moments is about being present, measured, and thoughtful, qualities that are often far more valuable than any quick response or loud proclamation. Leadership without noise is not about withdrawing from the conversation or being passive. It is about leading with quiet confidence, building trust through consistency, and owning space without dominating it. The most effective leaders are those who understand the power of their presence, their ability to lead without words. By mastering silent leadership, you can guide others with authority, build deeper relationships based on trust, and create an environment where everyone feels valued and empowered. Silent leadership is not about being silent for the sake of it, but about choosing to lead in a way that transcends the need for constant verbal communication, allowing your actions, your energy, and your presence to speak volumes. Chapter 13. Magnetism in Public and Social Life. One of the most intriguing aspects of nonverbal influence is the ability to create an invisible force that draws others to you. Whether you're entering a room filled with strangers, attending a social gathering, or stepping into a professional environment, there is a certain magnetism that some individuals seem to exude naturally. It's as though they have an invisible aura that commands attention and sparks curiosity. This magnetic presence is often not a result of what they say or even what they wear, but how they carry themselves. The power of nonverbal magnetism lies in the ability to engage and influence others without uttering a word. In this chapter, we will explore the concept of magnetism in public and social life, focusing on how one can walk into a room and instantly command the attention of others. We will also discuss how this magnetism is not about dominance or arrogance, but rather about fostering a sense of intrigue and connection. The magnetic individual knows how to tap into their own energy, allowing it to resonate with those around them in a way that makes them irresistible without even trying. By mastering this silent form of influence, you can navigate social and public settings with ease, leaving a lasting impression on everyone you meet. From the moment you step into a room to the way you interact with others, magnetism is about the energy you carry with you and the way it draws others into your orbit. It's a subtle art, one that can transform your presence in any setting, allowing you to become someone others are naturally drawn to, respected, and interested in. This chapter will give you the tools to cultivate and refine your own magnetic presence, empowering you to create lasting connections and influence others with your very presence. Walking into a room with gravity. The moment you walk into a room, something shifts. People look up, take notice, and in some cases, even instinctively draw back. There's a certain energy that precedes a truly magnetic person, a gravitational pull that is not based on overt actions, but rather on the quiet confidence that emanates from their being. How do they do it? What is it about their presence that creates such a profound impact without them saying a word? It all starts with awareness, the awareness of your own energy and how it interacts with the energy around you. When you enter a room, your body language speaks volumes before you even get a chance to introduce yourself. The way you carry yourself, the way you walk, and even your posture contribute to the magnetic effect. A leader in a room is someone who moves with purpose, who enters with the intention of commanding the space, not with the intention of overpowering it, but rather with the quiet confidence that they belong. The first step to cultivating magnetic presence is to own your entrance. Instead of rushing into a room or blending into the background, pause for a moment, stand tall, take a deep breath, and assess the environment. By doing so, you project that you are fully present, and in turn, people will respond to that energy. They will notice your calmness, your self-assurance, and your ability to take control of your surroundings without dominating them. This is the essence of silent magnetism, the ability to move through space with a grounded, confident energy that invites others to gravitate toward you. People are naturally drawn to those who are secure in their own skin, who do not need to seek attention, but can command it effortlessly. Creating invisible impact. Once you've entered a space with gravity, the next step is to maintain that energy and create invisible impact. It's not about being the loudest person in the room or drawing attention to yourself in obvious ways. Instead, it's about creating a quiet but undeniable force that shifts the energy of the room. People may not immediately know why they feel drawn to you, but there is an underlying sense of curiosity and respect that lingers in the air. A significant part of this invisible impact is being aware of how you interact with others. It's about making subtle gestures that convey warmth and confidence, such as a nod of acknowledgement, a relaxed smile, or even maintaining steady eye contact. These small actions create a sense of connection and openness, making others feel seen and valued. However, invisible impact goes beyond simple gestures. It's about how you manage your space and how you choose to engage with the people around you. Magnetic individuals don't rush into conversations or force their way into groups. Instead, they allow interactions to unfold naturally. They listen more than they speak, and in doing so, they create a sense of calm and receptivity in those around them. This magnetic quality is felt in the pauses between words, in the moments of silence that allow others to feel heard and understood. It's in the way they hold space for people to be themselves without judgment or pressure. Over time, this silent influence builds rapport and fosters an environment where others feel comfortable and eager to engage with you. In every interaction, you have the opportunity to create an invisible impact that subtly shapes the energy of the room, making it a more welcoming and engaging place. Noticing before reacting. One of the hallmarks of a magnetic presence is the ability to observe before reacting. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to rush into conversations or make snap judgments based on first impressions. However, those who possess true magnetism understand the power of taking a moment to assess the situation before responding. When you take the time to notice what's happening around you, whether it's the dynamics of a conversation, the body language of others, or the underlying tone of the room, you are better equipped to respond with intention and purpose. Magnetic individuals know that every situation holds subtle clues about what's really going on, and they take the time to pick up on these cues before speaking or acting. This ability to notice before reacting is not only a sign of emotional intelligence, but also a key factor in building rapport and trust. When you take a moment to fully understand the context of a situation, you demonstrate that you are present and fully engaged, not just reacting on autopilot. In social and public settings, this kind of awareness creates an air of authenticity and depth that draws others to you. People are naturally attracted to those who appear attuned to their environment and who can respond in ways that feel thoughtful and measured. Instead of forcing their way into conversations or jumping to conclusions, magnetic individuals wait for the right moment to speak or act, ensuring that their response is always aligned with the situation at hand. By practicing this level of awareness, you enhance your ability to influence others without saying a word, creating a magnetic presence that invites others to gravitate toward you naturally. Magnetism in public and social life is about mastering the art of nonverbal influence. It's about walking into a room with purpose, creating invisible impact through small but significant actions, and noticing the subtle cues in your environment before reacting. Magnetic individuals don't seek attention. They naturally attract it through their presence, energy, and ability to engage with others in a meaningful way. By cultivating these qualities, you can develop a magnetic presence that allows you to move through social and public settings with ease, leaving a lasting impression on everyone you meet. Nonverbal magnetism is not about trying to be someone you're not. It's about harnessing the power of your own energy and learning to influence others through silent but powerful means. The more you practice these techniques, the more you will find yourself becoming a person others are drawn to, respected by peers, and admired for your quiet strength and presence. Chapter 14. Becoming the Silent Magnet. To become the silent magnet in your own life is to embrace a subtle yet powerful force. It is to understand that the quietest individuals often hold the most influence, not because of what they say, but because of how they make others feel. They have mastered the art of nonverbal influence and presence, learning to communicate volumes without a word passing between them. Becoming this magnetic presence doesn't require flashy gestures or overt displays of power. Instead, it requires an awareness of your energy and how to project it in a way that resonates with others. It is about understanding that your silence, when used intentionally, has the capacity to speak louder than the most eloquent words. The process of becoming a silent magnet is a journey of self-discovery and refinement. It involves an ongoing practice of honing your presence, mastering the energy you bring to every situation, and learning how to influence others through your being rather than your voice. The foundation of this transformation lies in developing daily habits that sharpen your presence, enabling you to exude magnetism effortlessly and consistently. This journey doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, self-reflection, and a commitment to becoming the best version of yourself, both inside and out. Daily habits to sharpen your presence. Just as any skill requires consistent practice, cultivating silent magnetism demands the development of daily habits that nurture your ability to exude presence. The most magnetic individuals have rituals that they engage in each day, small yet powerful habits that sharpen their energy and focus. These habits are the quiet practices that go unnoticed by others, but are the key to their extraordinary presence. One of the first steps to becoming a silent magnet is starting your day with intention. The way you begin your morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. Take a moment each morning to center yourself. Engage in a grounding practice, whether it's meditation, deep breathing, or simply a few minutes of silence. By taking time to center your energy before facing the world, you create a calm and grounded presence that will resonate throughout the day. These quiet moments of reflection allow you to reconnect with yourself, reminding you of your intention to influence the world through your energy rather than your words. Another essential habit is the practice of mindful movement. This could be as simple as walking with purpose, paying attention to how your body moves and how you carry yourself throughout the day. Magnetic people don't rush through their actions. They are deliberate in everything they do, from how they walk to how they sit to how they speak. This deliberate movement sends a message of self-assurance and control, signaling to others that you are someone worth paying attention to. Throughout the day, take moments to check in with your posture and body language. Ensure that you are standing tall, shoulders back, and head high. Your physical presence is a reflection of your internal state, and small adjustments to your body can have a significant impact on how others perceive you. These habits, intentional grounding practices, and mindful movement may seem small, but over time, they build a foundation of silent influence that grows stronger with each passing day. Long-term practice, energy, body, breath. The path to becoming a magnetic force in your world requires more than just a few daily habits. It demands a long-term commitment to refining your energy, body, and breath. Energy is the invisible force that shapes your interactions with others. It is the intangible essence of who you are, and it radiates from you in every moment. Developing awareness of your energy is crucial in becoming a silent magnet. The first step is to become aware of how your energy fluctuates throughout the day. Do you feel drained after certain interactions? Are there times when you feel your energy is particularly high or low? By identifying these patterns, you can begin to regulate your energy and ensure that you are bringing your best self to every situation. One of the most powerful ways to manage your energy is through breath. Your breath is not only the life force that sustains you, but it is also a tool for controlling your emotional and physical state. When you feel anxious or overstimulated, you can use deep, intentional breathing to calm your nerves and bring yourself back to a centered place. By mastering breath work, you gain the ability to influence your internal state and project a calm, magnetic energy to those around you. Similarly, your body plays a critical role in how your energy is perceived. Posture, gestures, and movement all communicate messages to others before you even speak. The way you carry your body can either amplify or diminish your magnetic presence. Through long-term practice, you can refine your posture and body language, making subtle adjustments that will have a profound impact on how you are perceived by others. As you become more in tune with your energy, body, and breath, you will find that you no longer need to consciously try to be magnetic. Instead, your presence will naturally radiate, drawing others to you without effort. Letting go of the need to speak. One of the most powerful aspects of becoming a silent magnet is learning to let go of the need to speak. In a world that often values verbal communication, it can be difficult to embrace silence as a form of influence. However, silent influence is often far more powerful than words, especially when combined with the right energy and presence. Magnetic individuals understand that silence is not empty. It is full of potential. When you choose not to speak, you allow others the space to express themselves, which fosters connection and trust. By embracing silence, you become a more attentive listener, a rare quality in today's world of constant noise and chatter. Letting go of the need to speak also means learning to embrace the pauses in conversation. The magnetic individual knows that sometimes the most powerful moments happen in the silence between words. These pauses allow others to think, reflect, and open up in ways that they might not if the conversation is filled with constant talking. In your daily interactions, make a conscious effort to practice the art of silence. Resist the urge to fill the space with words, and instead, allow your presence and energy to speak for you. As you become more comfortable with silence, you will find that your ability to influence and connect with others grows exponentially. People are drawn to those who don't feel the need to speak constantly, those who understand the power of presence over words. This practice of letting go of the need to speak will help you embody the silent magnetism that is at the core of this journey. Living as a quiet force in a loud world. As you continue to refine your presence, energy, body, and breath, you will begin to live as a quiet force in a loud world. This transformation isn't about withdrawing from the world, but rather about engaging with it in a way that is more purposeful and impactful. In a society that often values loudness, speed, and visibility, the silent magnet stands as a contrast. A powerful reminder that influence doesn't have to come from shouting or demanding attention. Instead, it can come from simply being present, grounded, and aware. Living as a silent magnet means embracing the power of silence as a form of expression. It's about cultivating an inner peace that radiates outward and affects the people around you. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need to be heard in order to be understood. This quiet strength is contagious, and over time, you will find that others are drawn to you for the calm, centered energy you exude. You will also begin to notice that your interactions with others become more meaningful and fulfilling. People will seek your presence not because you speak the loudest or have the most to say, but because you offer a space of connection and understanding that is rare in a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming. The journey to becoming the silent magnet is one of self-mastery and growth. It requires ongoing commitment, patience, and practice. But as you continue to refine your energy, body, breath, and silence, you will find that your influence in the world grows not through what you say, but through who you are. You will become a quiet force, an unspoken power that changes the world around you simply by existing. The journey to becoming the silent magnet is not one that happens overnight, but with consistent practice and intention, you can begin to embody this quiet strength in every aspect of your life. By developing daily habits that sharpen your presence, committing to long-term practices that refine your energy and body, and learning to let go of the need to speak, you will find that your influence grows exponentially. The more you align your energy, body, breath, and silence, the more magnetic your presence will become. And ultimately, this magnetism will allow you to navigate the world with a quiet confidence and a deep connection to those around you. By mastering the art of nonverbal influence, you become a force that draws others in without uttering a single word. Chapter 15. The Silent Legacy. As we reach the final chapter of this journey into silent magnetism, it is time to reflect on the transformation that has taken place and the legacy you are beginning to create. You have learned the power of silence, not as a lack of communication, but as an intentional, powerful force that shapes your interactions, influences others, and cultivates deeper connections. Throughout the course of this exploration, we've uncovered the subtle yet transformative impact of nonverbal cues, presence, and energy. But this final chapter is about solidifying that transformation, embodying it fully, and understanding how it extends far beyond mere influence. Your silent magnetism is not just a tool for personal success. It becomes a legacy, a quiet imprint that you leave on the world, one that can ripple through every interaction, every relationship, and every challenge you face. The work of refining your silent presence has not been a temporary pursuit. It is a lifelong process, an ongoing journey of growth, reflection, and practice. In embracing the silent magnetism within you, you have tapped into a powerful force that shapes your identity, your relationships, and the way you navigate the world. Embodying silent magnetism in every moment. One of the most important steps in the final stage of becoming the silent magnet is embodying this presence in every single moment of your life. It is not about putting on a facade or presenting an altered version of yourself when you are in public or interacting with others. Instead, it is about integrating the principles of silence and presence into your everyday life, ensuring that you live with intention and authenticity at all times. When you live authentically, your silence and presence align effortlessly, making your influence not something you actively strive for, but rather something that emanates naturally from within you. This is where true silent magnetism is cultivated. It's not about performing, showing off, or impressing others with how much you know or how loudly you can speak. True magnetism is about being rather than doing. It's about showing up fully in each moment, not by dominating the space with your words or actions, but by occupying it with your energy, your authenticity, and your grounded presence. As you integrate silent magnetism into your everyday interactions, you will begin to notice how differently people respond to you. They will be drawn to your quiet confidence, your calm energy, and your ability to make them feel seen and heard without a word being spoken. This magnetic presence is the foundation of meaningful connections and relationships that are built on trust, respect, and authenticity. By embracing this way of being in every moment, you create an environment where others feel comfortable, valued, and understood. The ripple effect, how your silent magnetism influences others. As your silent magnetism deepens, so too does its impact on the people around you. Like a pebble dropped into a pond, your presence sends ripples through the world, affecting those you interact with in ways both subtle and profound. You may not always see the immediate results of your presence, but trust that it is creating a lasting effect. Those who encounter you will carry with them the impression of your calm energy, your stillness, and your ability to listen and connect without the need for constant verbal communication. This is where the true power of silent magnetism lies, not in the loud moments of recognition or praise, but in the quiet, unseen ways you impact others. Every person you interact with will leave with a different sense of themselves, perhaps feeling more understood, more grounded, or more confident in their own presence. These ripples of influence spread further than you might realize, creating an environment that encourages deeper connection and presence for others as well. In this way, your silent magnetism becomes a force for positive change, not just in your own life, but in the lives of those you encounter. You inspire others to embody their own presence more fully, to embrace their silence as a tool of connection, and to be more intentional in their interactions. You may find that others begin to mirror your behavior, adopting some of the same habits and practices you have cultivated in yourself. This ripple effect creates a quiet but powerful shift in the collective consciousness, one that moves away from the noisy, over-communicative world toward a more intentional, mindful existence where presence is prioritized over words. By continuing to embody your silent magnetism, you contribute to the creation of a world where people value connection, understanding, and emotional resonance over performance, distraction, and superficiality. Leaving a legacy of quiet influence. As you step into your role as a silent magnet, it's important to recognize that you are not only shaping your own life and relationships, but also leaving a legacy. This legacy is not defined by accolades or loud accomplishments, but by the way you impact those around you. The quiet strength and presence you embody will be felt long after you've left the room, long after the conversation has ended. The legacy you create through your silent magnetism is one of emotional depth, connection, and authenticity. It is a legacy that transcends the need for verbal communication and instead focuses on the deeper unspoken layers of human interaction. As you continue on this journey, consider the kind of legacy you wish to leave behind. Do you want to be remembered for your ability to dominate conversations or impress others with your words? Or do you want to be remembered for your ability to listen, to make others feel valued, and to create an environment where people feel safe to be themselves? When you live with silent magnetism, you are not just influencing the present moment, but you are creating an enduring impact that will shape the lives of others long into the future. Your legacy is built on the connections you make, the trust you foster, and the way you inspire others to step into their own silent magnetism. It is a quiet legacy, but one that is deeply powerful, meaningful, and lasting. By living with intention and embodying the principles of silent magnetism, you leave behind a trail of influence that continues to ripple outwards, affecting the world in ways you may never fully realize. As we come to the end of this journey, remember that becoming the silent magnet is not a final destination, but an ongoing practice. The principles shared in this book are tools that, when applied with intention and consistency, will continue to shape your life in profound ways. You have learned that silence is not an absence, but a presence. It is a powerful force that, when wielded with awareness and care, has the ability to transform your interactions, your relationships, and the way you move through the world. The silent magnetism you have developed is a gift, not just for you, but for everyone you encounter. By embracing the power of presence, energy, and silence, you have unlocked a path to living a life of purpose, authenticity, and influence. The journey of silent magnetism is one of deep self-awareness, a journey that will continue to unfold as you grow, learn, and evolve. Embrace it fully, knowing that with each step you take, you are leaving behind a legacy of quiet mastery that will touch the lives of others in ways that words alone could never achieve.